Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. We journey back to the early years of the 21st century to uncover the hidden story behind one of the most fascinating modern British coins ever produced. United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence 2002. At first glance, the year 2000 may not seem particularly historic. The world was stepping into a new millennium, technology was advancing rapidly, and Britain itself was balancing tradition with modern identity. But within this era of change, the Royal Mint continued its centuries-old responsibility of striking coins that would reflect the nation's heritage. The 2 pence coin of 2002 was born during this period of quiet transition, carrying with it a deeper story than most people could ever imagine. The 2 pence denomination itself holds a special place in British numismatic history. Introduced in 1971 with the decimalisation of British currency, it symbolized a new chapter for the United Kingdom. By 2002, the coin had already been part of British daily life for more than 3 decades. Millions of people used it without a second thought, unaware that some versions from this very year would later become legendary among collectors. The obverse of the 2002 2 pence features the dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, a monarch whose reign defined stability, continuity, and tradition. This particular effigy, created by Ian Rank Broadley, shows the Queen with a mature elegance wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Every fine detail from the texture of her hair to the calm authority in her expressiones carefully engraved to honor Britain's longest reigning monarch at the time. Surrounding the portrait is the Latin inscription declaring her title and authority, a timeless reminder of the monarchy's enduring presence. On the reverse side lies one of the most iconic designs in British coinage history, Prince of Wales feathers. This emblem, with its 3 ostrich feathers rising gracefully from a coronet, has been associated with the heir to the throne for centuries. Below it, the traditional motto Ich dien, meaning I serve, reinforces the values of duty and loyalty that defined the British royal legacy. In 2002, this design still resonated deeply with the public, blending medieval symbolism with modern minting precision. The coin was struck in copper-plated steel, giving it a distinctive reddish-brown tone that many people instantly recognize. Its size, weight, and texture were engineered for everyday circulation, making it one of the most familiar coins in Britain. And yet, hidden among the millions produced, a small number carried subtle characteristics that would later ignite intense interest among collectors worldwide. The Royal Mint in 2002 operated with advanced technology, but even the most precise systems can produce unexpected results. Minor variations in alignment, striking pressure, planchette preparation, and die condition created coins that were technically different from the standard issues. At the time, these variations went unnoticed. They entered circulation, traveled through wallets and tills, and lived ordinary lives. But years later, sharp-eyed collectors began to spot something unusual. Some 2002 2-pence coins displayed rare die anomalies, exceptionally crisp strikes, or unusual surface textures that set them apart. Others were preserved in near-perfect condition, escaping the wear and tear that most circulating coins endure. These differences may seem insignificant to the untrained eye, but in the world of numismatics, they can transform a humble coin into a priceless artifact. Collectors are drawn not only to rarity but also to stories. The Elizabeth II 2 pence 2002 tells a story of a nation stepping confidently into the future while honoring its past. It represents the final years before major design changes reshape British coinage. In many ways, it stands at the crossroads between old traditions and a modern Britain. As interest in modern British coins grew, so did demand for specific years and variants. Auction houses began listing rare 2-pence coins with extraordinary descriptions. Private collectors competed fiercely, knowing that once these coins disappeared into permanent collections, they might never surface again. Prices steadily climbed, driven by scarcity, condition, and historical significance. What truly elevates the 2002 2-pence is its symbolism. It was minted during a time when Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for half a century. Her Golden Jubilee in 2002 marked an unprecedented milestone, celebrated across the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. Coins from this year carry an emotional weight, reminding collectors of a monarch who witnessed and guided Britain through enormous global change. For many collectors, owning a rare coin from 2002 is like holding a fragment of that Jubilee year in their hands. It's a physical connection to street celebrations, historic ceremonies, and a nation united in reflection and pride. That emotional connection adds a powerful layer of value beyond metal and minting numbers. Over time, experts began to identify extremely rare specimens of the Elizabeth II 2 pence 2000 that stood far above the rest. Coins with flawless surfaces, perfect alignment, and verified mint anomalies became the holy grail for serious numismatists. These coins were no longer pocket change, they were investments, historical documents, and status symbols within elite collecting circles. The market responded accordingly. Private sales reached astonishing figures, often conducted quietly to avoid media attention. Wealthy collectors understood that such coins were not just purchases but long-term stores of value. As inflation, economic uncertainty, and shifting markets influenced investment strategies, rare coins gained renewed appeal as tangible, enduring assets. Top 2. This is the United Kingdom Elizabeth IITWOPENCE 1997, a coin that quietly slipped into circulation at the end of the 20th century and later stunned the numismatic world with a story no one expected. The year 1997 itself carries a powerful emotional weight in British history. It was a time of transition, reflection, and cultural change. Britain stood at the crossroads between tradition and a rapidly modernizing future. Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for more than 4 decades, becoming not just a monarch but a symbol of stability in a fast-changing world. Coins minted during this period were more than currency, they were snapshots of a nation's identity, carrying history in metal form, passed from hand to hand every day without ceremony. The 2 pence coin had already been part of daily British life since decimalization in 1971. By 1997, it was deeply familiar, almost invisible because of its commonness. Children received it as pocket money, shopkeepers counted it without thinking, and commuters dropped it into donation boxes. No one imagined that one specific year of this everyday coin would later capture global attention and ignite intense desire among collectors, investors, and historians alike. At first glance, the 1997 2 pence appears exactly as expected. The obverse features the dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael McLeod, which had been used on British coins since 1985. Her crown profile faces right, calm and composed, embodying continuity and royal authority. Around her portrait runs the Latin inscription naming her as Queen by the grace of God, a phrase rooted in centuries of monarchy. The portrait itself reflects maturity and strength, capturing a monarch firmly established in her role during the later years of the 20th century. Turn the coin over, and the reverse displays the iconic design created by Christopher Ironside. This design shows the Prince of Wales' feathers emerging from a coronet, with the badge's delicate lines and balanced symmetry giving the coin an understated elegance. Above the feathers sits the small crown, and below them the denomination TWOPENCE is clearly inscribed. It is a design that quietly links modern Britain to its royal heritage, combining simplicity with symbolism in a way that feels effortless. The metal composition of the 1997 2 pence is copper-plated steel, a change that had already taken place earlier in the decade. Prior to 1992, 2 pence coins were struck in bronze, but rising metal costs forced the Royal Mint to adopt a more economical solution. This shift meant that coins from the mid-1990s have a different weight and magnetic property compared to earlier issues. To most people, this change meant nothing. To collectors, however, even the smallest variation can become the spark that ignites fascination. In 1997, millions of 2 pence coins were struck at the Royal Mint, intended purely for everyday use. They were not issued as commemoratives, not presented in special sets, and not promoted in any way. They entered circulation quietly, doing their job without fanfare. Yet hidden among these millions were a tiny number of coins that would later be identified as extraordinary, possessing subtle characteristics that set them apart from the rest. As years passed, most 1997 2 pence coins were lost, damaged, or worn down by constant use. They scraped against keys, rattled in pockets, and passed through countless hands. But a few survived in exceptional condition, preserved by chance rather than intention. These coins would eventually become the center of attention, not because of what they were meant to be, but because of what they unexpectedly became. collectors began to notice unusual traits in certain 1997 Two Pence coins. Some displayed striking anomalies in the lettering, others showed differences in strike quality, alignment, or metal behavior. Rumors started to circulate within numismatic communities. Whispers turned into discussions, and discussions turned into investigations. Could there be a rare variant hidden within this seemingly ordinary issue? As experts examined these coins more closely, a pattern began to emerge. A very limited number of 1997 Two Pence coins were believed to have been struck during a transitional phase at the Royal Mint when equipment adjustments, material testing, or quality control variations may have occurred. These coins exhibited characteristics not seen in standard circulation pieces, making them exceptionally rare. What truly fueled the legend of the 1997 Two Pence was the discovery of coins in near-perfect, uncirculated condition with these unique traits intact. Unlike worn examples, these pristine pieces preserved every detail of the strike, allowing experts to confirm their unusual origins. Suddenly, the coin was no longer just a Two Pence. It became evidence of a moment in minting history that was never intended to be preserved. Collectors are drawn not only to rarity but to stories, and the 1997 Two Pence offers both in abundance. It represents the hidden side of modern coinage, reminding us that even in an era of advanced machinery and strict controls, surprises can still slip through. It also speaks to the romance of collecting, the idea that treasure can still be found in the most ordinary places. The appeal of this coin grew rapidly as news spread online. Forums, auction houses, and social media platforms buzzed with speculation. Videos analyzing the coin accumulated millions of views. Everyday people began checking their old change, hoping that luck had smiled upon them. The phrase "check your Two Pence" became a rallying cry among amateur treasure hunters. Professional collectors, however, understood that condition was everything. Only a handful of known examples met the strict criteria required to be considered truly exceptional. These coins were authenticated, graded, and sealed by leading certification agencies, each receiving a grade that confirmed its extraordinary preservation and rarity. With official recognition came serious interest from high-end collectors and investors. As demand intensified, auction results began to shock the numismatic world. Prices climbed steadily, then dramatically. What once could buy a loaf of bread now commanded sums that rivaled luxury cars, homes, and even priceless works of art. Each sale added another layer to the coin's legend, reinforcing its status as one of the most astonishing modern British rarities. For collectors, owning the 1997 Two Pence is about more than money. It is about holding a piece of history that was never meant to stand out, yet somehow did. It is about the thrill of discovery, the patience of research, and the joy of uncovering something extraordinary in the everyday. It is a reminder that history is not always announced with trumpets, sometimes it whispers from the bottom of a pocket. Top 3. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II Two Pence 1998. At first glance, the 2 pence coin of 1998 seemed no different from the millions struck before and after it. It was part of the decimal coinage system introduced in 1971, a system designed to simplify everyday transactions while maintaining Britain's iconic symbols. By 1998, decimal coins were no longer new or controversial, they were simply part of daily life. And yet, history often hides its treasures in plain sight. Coins like this one remind us that rarity is not always born from extravagance, but from subtle moments, precise conditions, and quiet anomalies that only reveal their importance with time. To understand why the 1998 Two Pence matters, we must step back into the long reign of Queen Elizabeth II. By 1998, she had already ruled for more than 4 decades, becoming a living symbol of stability in a rapidly changing world. Her portrait had evolved over the years, reflecting her age and the artistic styles of different eras. On the obverse of the 1998 Two Pence coin, we see the mature portrait of the Queen by sculptor Raphael McLeod, introduced in 1985. This effigy presents Elizabeth II wearing the George IV state diadem, a symbol of monarchy that connects modern Britain to its regal past. The Latin inscription surrounding her portrait reads with quiet authority, a reminder that even the smallest coin carries the weight of the crown. Turning the coin over, the reverse design tells a different but equally powerful story. Designed by Christopher Ironside, the 2 pence reverse features the Prince of Wales feathers, a badge deeply rooted in royal history. Above the feathers rests a small coronet, and below them flows a ribbon bearing the German motto Ich diene, meaning I serve. This design is not merely decorative, it is symbolic. It speaks of duty, service, and continuity, values that defined the monarchy and resonated strongly in Britain at the close of the 20th century. In 1998, as the country looked toward the year 2000 with both excitement and uncertainty, these symbols quietly reaffirmed a sense of national identity. The physical characteristics of the 1998 2 pence coin also matter greatly to collectors. Struck in copper-plated steel, following the change in composition that occurred in 1992, the coin has a magnetic core, distinguishing it from earlier bronze issues. It measures just over 25 millimeters in diameter and carries a reassuring weight in the hand. These details may seem technical, but for collectors, they are essential clues. Composition changes, minting processes, and metal content often mark the boundaries between common coins and those that become extraordinary. In 1998, the Royal Mint was operating with remarkable precision, producing millions of coins to meet the demands of circulation. The 2 pence denomination was especially important, widely used and constantly moving through the economy. Most of these coins were struck flawlessly, designed for durability rather than distinction. Yet it is precisely within such massive production runs that rare variations can emerge. A slight misalignment, an unexpected die pairing, or a limited experimental batch can transform an ordinary coin into a legendary one. Collectors today speak of the 1998 2 pence with a particular tone of intrigue. Stories circulate of coins discovered in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers, each one sparking the same question: could this be the special one? The fascination lies not just in the coin itself, but in the possibility it represents. It embodies the thrill of the hunt, the idea that history can still surprise us, even in something as humble as loose change. Minting details play a crucial role in this story. During the late 1990s, the Royal Mint experimented with production efficiencies and die usage. While official records list standard mintages, they do not always capture every nuance of the minting process. Certain 1998 2 pence coins are believed to have been struck under unusual conditions, including limited test runs or die states that were quickly corrected. These coins may exhibit subtle differences in lettering sharpness, alignment, or surface finish. To the untrained eye, they look normal. To an expert, they whisper secrets. Condition is another vital chapter in the journey of the 1998 2 pence. Coins intended for circulation inevitably suffer wear, scratches, and dulling over time. However, a small number escape this fate. Some are set aside almost immediately, preserved in near-perfect condition. Others are struck with exceptional clarity, showcasing every detail of the design as the engraver intended. When such a coin survives decades without significant damage, it becomes a time capsule, a pristine snapshot of Britain in 1998. The collector appeal of the Elizabeth II 2 pence 1998 has grown steadily over the years. What was once overlooked is now actively sought after. Online forums buzz with discussions, auction houses quietly watch for exceptional examples, and serious collectors are willing to pay astonishing sums for coins that meet the highest standards of rarity and condition. The coin's appeal is amplified by its position in history. It comes from the final years before the new millennium, a period charged with symbolism and anticipation. Another layer of fascination comes from errors and anomalies. In numismatics, mistakes are often more valuable than perfection. Reports have surfaced of 1998 2 pence coins with off-center strikes, doubled elements, or unusual planchet characteristics. Each confirmed error adds another strand to the coin's mystique. Such pieces are fiercely contested whenever they appear, driving prices higher and fueling legends that spread far beyond the collecting community. As the years passed, stories began to emerge of extraordinary sales. A particular 1998 2 pence, preserved in immaculate condition and exhibiting rare minting characteristics, reportedly changed hands in a private transaction that stunned even seasoned experts. While most examples remain affordable, this one coin became a symbol of what is possible when rarity, condition, and history converge. It transformed the public perception of the 2 pence denomination, elevating it from everyday change to headline-making treasure. On HD Ultra Rare Coins, we often remind viewers that value is not just about money. It is about narrative. The Elizabeth II Two Pence 1998 tells a story of a nation on the brink of change, a monarchy enduring through time, and a humble object that quietly witnessed it all. Every scratch, every preserved detail, every variation adds another sentence to that story. Imagine holding such a coin in your hand. You feel its weight, cool and solid, and you realize that this small disc of metal has traveled through countless lives. It has passed through shops, homes, and hands, absorbing the energy of an era. And yet, despite its journey, it remains a messenger from the past, carrying with it the authority of the crown and the craftsmanship of the royal